I mean, I think what I always tell clients is at the end of the day, I think we all know that we're heading in the right direction by removing the reviews, right?
Hey everyone, this is Nazar Akil from Max Pro.
Hi, I'm Linda.
And I'm Paul.
And we're Love and Pebbles.
Hi, this is Lopa Vandermersch from Rasa.
Oh, you're listening to...
And you're listening. And you are listening to the E-Comm Show.
Welcome to the E-Comm Show, presented by BlueTuskr, the #1 place to hear the inside scoop from other e-commerce experts, where they share their secrets on how they scaled their business and are now living the dream. Now, here is your host, Andrew Maff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the E-Comm Show. I'm your host, Andrew Maff, and today I am joined by the amazing Shane Barker, who is the CEO and founder of TraceFuse. Shane, you ready for a good show? You ready to do this?
Andrew, bro, I already had my coffee. I already did some push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. Only like 3 of them. But yes, I'm absolutely ready, man. I'm prepped.
Perfect. Because you can't do more than 3, because then you'll be too winded.
Well, and I don't want to strain
And I
myself.
want a good show, damn it.
Yeah. I don't have my inhaler close. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could have gone wrong. I max myself out at 3. It's just for safety reasons.
So, Shane, let's do the stereotypical thing, because that's how I've always started these. Pretend no one knows who you are. Give us a little bit of your background, obviously a little bit more about TraceFuse, and then we're going to take it from there. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good, man. So, I don't know how long we have for the podcast. I won't give you the long version of what I've done. I've done a lot of stuff over the years, not trying to brag, but I just have a pretty eclectic background. I have a company or my main website is shanebarker.com, which is where I've done digital marketing, influencer marketing, SEO, a lot of different things, and kind of cut my teeth in that space. Was doing SEO before it was like SEO. I mean, a long time ago, right? Building websites a long time ago, really content marketing. I was one of the first people talking about influencer marketing. Used to teach at UCLA, actually helped create their curriculum over there for influencer marketing. So have a long background in academia, but also in obviously online digital marketing. Used to own a bar in Chico, California. Used to have a real estate company that I grew from 0 to 25 million in 2 years. So, got a long history. Now, that's all the accolades, right? I'm not going to tell you about the other 15 businesses that failed and, burned miserably and stuff like that. But, hey, we only have time for successes today. But, it's really gotten me to this point to where, the successes and the failures have gotten me to a point where, now I have some pretty awesome businesses. And, the learning curve is, I went to school and got my degree in marketing, but really 99% of what I learned is just jumping in feet first in the fire and learning it and better understanding how to do things and do things better. So, I don't ever complain about the failures, because at the end of the day, that made me who I am today, right? Like, I mean, those things are important. If somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm all success and no failures," they're lying, or they should be on medication. There's something going on there. Like you have to have those failures, right? That's important. So, and I know we're going to talk about TraceFuse today. That's my new baby. We've been working on that for about 5 years, and some awesome stuff going on there. We kind of have some groundbreaking software and services that nobody else in the industry, in the Amazon industry, can offer. And there's some stigma behind what we do, because it's always typically been black hat. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit, I'm sure.
Beautiful. So I know your background obviously was a little bit on the influencer side. Well, not your background, because you obviously just mentioned 10 other things that you've done. But from an e-commerce perspective, you've done a lot of work on the influencer side, specific for Amazon sellers, correct?
Yeah, so UGC, stuff like that, right? User-generated content. Really, the influencer stuff that I was doing is I would actually teach brands how to find influencers and work with influencers. So that plays very nicely in obviously in Amazon and TikTok and in that space. So always been on the influencer side. Once again, I'm driving traffic to e-commerce sites and pages. The other thing I didn't say is I also do government consulting, and I help companies that usually are looking to get online. So that's heavy on the e-commerce side of things. I guess I didn't bring up the e-commerce thing on an e-commerce podcast, so that'd probably be pretty important.
All right, we assumed.
Yeah, we just assumed that Shane was doing something in e-commerce, and that's the reason why Andrew invited him.
Exactly. TraceFuse. So let's touch on that. So the new baby.
Yeah.
How would you? Let's do layman's terms first. How would you explain what TraceFuse is?
TraceFuse, in one sentence, is we help sellers remove negative reviews on Amazon, all compliant with Amazon, fully white hat, fully compliant with Amazon.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's figure out how does that actually work? Because I know, just like you mentioned, and as I'm sure you already knew, because I'm sure people have brought it up to you before, typically an incredibly hard thing to do just if you're manually doing it yourself. So to leverage, something like your TraceFuse here, is it automated? Is it like AI? Is it service? Is it all of the above? Like, how does it actually work?
Yeah, we used to hire humans, but now we just have all AI. I fired my whole team and no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. If my team's listening, I'm kidding. You guys still have a job, I promise. No, all joking aside. So we've been working on this for about 5 years. My team's like, wait, what happened? I'm just kidding. Everybody's
What a weird
fine.
way to get fired.
I know. You're like, I listened to the podcast and got fired. What happens if I didn't listen to the podcast? Do I still have a job? I'm not sure. You guys, everybody's still employed. Don't worry. We're growing at a fast rate. So I need more people and not less people. But yeah, so we started off about 5 years ago. And what we really wanted to do, we were sellers in the Amazon space. And some of the people that I work with, we had brands and we were looking at stuff. And the issue was we were selling supplements, and supplements is extremely profitable, great profit margins, everything's awesome. The issue is that it's a very aggressive category. And what I mean by that is, you have some bad actors, you have some people, when it comes to money, they'll do anything to screw you over. Not everybody in the supplement space, but that's just the reality of it. And there's certain categories on Amazon that are very aggressive. So supplements, what happened was we started getting attacked from Black Hat perspective. And so we went to Amazon and said, hey, Amazon, can you look into this? And Amazon didn't respond, right? And so,
Weird.
so we got a little frustrated. I know, shocker. Just kidding, Amazon. We love you. I love you. I promise. Please don't hurt me. So yeah, we ended up, we said, okay, we got to figure this out, right? We clearly know we're being attacked. We feel like we have some good information, some good intel. Really what that caused us to do is to start collecting reviews on Amazon. And the reason why we were doing that is we realized that if we had these reviews, that's really the juice, right? That's really what the reason why we could get reviews removed if we had the data, right? We know that data is going to get Amazon to react. Data gets everybody to react, right? If you don't have information, you say, hey, I have a feeling this is happening. Nobody jumps on that and says, well, tell me more about your feeling. Like let's look into that. Like, unless it's like having to do with like the president or something. But for us, what we do, it was like, okay, now how are we going to lay this out for Amazon, right? Amazon obviously is a huge company. They probably have an idea that there's some things going on like this, but they don't have the time, the bandwidth. So how do we go and we build a case that we're going to give to Amazon, that Amazon's going to go, you know what, we have all the information now, right? Thank you so much. And now we can make a decision. The analogy that I always use is like, let's say your car was being broken into, right? And it kept being broken into. And, if you go to the police department, they have bigger fish to fry, right? But let's say you go to the police department, you say, hey, here goes footage, here goes pictures of the guy, here goes his fingerprints. You lay it all out, then it's very easy for them to go make an arrest, assuming they would make an arrest. But you get my point. The idea of it is we're giving them all the information. We're not going to Amazon, the detective, and saying, hey, look into this. They probably don't have the time or the bandwidth to do that. So what we did is said, hey, let's give them the information they need, right? Let's make it so they can look at it and make an assessment within minutes. And so that's kind of with the three pillars, we call it the three pillars. Is one is the data that we do, the methodology, it's how we file cases. Usually we're doing it through Seller Central. Sometimes we have to go through brand registry. Sometimes there's other departments that we go through. And we have a really pretty strong strategy there. We have, I say templates, that we use, but the templates are constantly changing because it is AI driven. So what we realized was that we're filing cases. When we get a no, that trains the AI. When we get a yes, that also trains the AI. So templates or things that we've used last week could be very different this week. And we also have different categories that we use different templates. What we did is the way that we did this is we filed over 10,000 cases and got a hot zero on about all of them. I mean, it literally was just going in and figuring this out. This was not hey, we have one template that's been crushing it for 3 years, because the only consistent thing with Amazon is change. And I think anybody in the Amazon space is probably shaking their head right now. So we know that we constantly have to be evolving, right? With the different changes at Amazon, not knowing what's going on. That's why all these sellers have these groups to support each other and try to figure out the Amazon space. It's not an easy space to get into. It can be very profitable. And obviously, there's good things that can happen there. So what we did is we started filing these cases, started getting, this intel, and figured out, once again, what does Amazon react to, right? With which departments do they react to certain types of reviews? So we really just dove all in. And I will tell you, at about year 3, I was getting a little nervous because I was thinking, man, I've invested a lot of money and time into this. And I was like, we're still getting hot no's, which I was like, and it's like, I can't go to somebody, to a seller, and be like, hey, we have a 0.06, success rate or removal rate. And they're like, wow, that's awesome. So if we have 10 million reviews, you can remove 6 reviews. And I'm like, that's right. So I've got like 3 sellers on the platform that I can work with. That's not the goal, right? The goal is to go after and find the sellers that, once again, that have been on the platform for a while, that have some critical reviews. Critical reviews is what Amazon is, 1, 2, and 3-star reviews. And so that's what we did. We have a minimum of 500 critical reviews, and there's a number of reasons why we do that. That's kind of a sweet spot for us, filing cases and getting things removed. Our goal with our clients is to get traction for them, right? Like, we have 2 different types of clients. We have proactive and reactive. We have proactive, hey, I'm at a 4.3. I want to stay at a 4.3. I know if I go to a 4.2, I lose, 20, 30% of my business. Or, hey, oh, shoot, we just had a situation. I'm at a 4.2. I got to get back up to a 4.3. That is possible with us, but it's also sucks a little more because you're down 4.2 and you're losing sales each day. I encourage people to, hey, go get, the analogy I always use is go get a car alarm. I know we all have car alarms now, but back in the day, people would get a car alarm after they were broken into. For me, it's like, just get the car alarm ahead of time, right? That way nobody will break into you. So that's what we do. We go in, we take a look at the clients. We send them a sheet with all their reviews on all their ASINs. We run an evaluation. They give us their merchant ID. We tell them, hey, these are the ASINs. They can go and pick those ASINs. The 500 critical reviews can be one ASIN, multiple ASINs, all as long as they're under the same merchant ID. And then what we do is we grab that, we run it through our software. They don't have to do anything. They just click the ones that they want. They give us an email address, or we give them an email address. They give us access to file cases, put a credit card on file, and it's all performance driven. So there's no upfront fee, no retainer, no contract, no nothing. I only want people that want to work with us and that are seeing some success with us. So, we, in the beginning stages, we were doing retainers and stuff. And I finally just said, hey, let's get rid of all of that. There's no risk at all. Like, literally, you come on, if we file cases and we don't get any reviews removed, I mean, it sucks because my kids don't eat, right? But the client doesn't have to pay any money, right? So the kids are fine. I mean, they've got like little snacks and stuff. We're good for at least another month.
So far, what I've learned is your employees get to keep their job and your kids are going to keep eating. So we're in a good spot. This has been a great episode. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I think we're done here. This is awesome. And I know my kids are looking at me like, we are going to eat. And I'm like, I'm on a podcast. Just don't we'll talk about the food later, and my employees, most of you are still.
You'll eat too.
I love you guys. Yeah. Like, we'll just have food together. We'll all work together in the same office here soon.
So many questions pop up into my head. One, how are you differentiating a negative review that is theoretically from a competitor versus a negative review that's from a customer that in some cases it's suggested to leave it and actually respond to them to address the negative review? So how do you decipher which direction to go with there?
Yeah. So what we do is we're filing cases on anything that's against Amazon's terms of service. So, a client or a buyer could write a good review, but if they cuss in there, that's a problem. That can't happen. Or if they're, talked about a competitor, or if they mentioned pricing, there's some certain things that's just in blatant violation of Amazon's terms of service. The issue is a lot of the times, if you file those yourself, Amazon still doesn't respond. So it becomes frustrating as sellers, right? So what we've done is we have a way to get Amazon to react to it. And once again, it's all data driven, right? So we're building out this case and explaining to them, hey, listen, this is against your terms of service. You think it would be as easy as just sending a quick email. It's not. Sellers are probably shaking their head like, well, we know, we've tried. Those are blatant for us. Those are the probability of those getting removed for us is in the 90s, right? Because it's those ones when we run through the AI, we say, hey, talks about packaging, talks about FBA, stuff like that. We know that those are we have a high likelihood of those getting removed. Now, when we file those cases, if it doesn't get removed and we feel like it's a strong case, and we'll take that and go to another department, right? There's other departments we can file with. So we have a good methodology of learning where they're going to react, when they're going to react, if they're not going to react, and then at what point do we take it and go to another department. So if there are reviews that are, this is where things get interesting. So let's say they are, and I'm doing air quotes for the podcast people, that are legit reviews, right? And so one of the things that's very interesting about what we do is that 100 million reviews that we've collected over the last 5 years, we're able to build, like, you ever heard of like a RICO case? They did this like with the mob, and they do it like with rappers and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where they go, Guido in New York has this, and, Giuseppe in New Jersey has this, and they're tying them all together and saying, hey, this is an organization. There's something funny going on here. We do the same thing. We're not going after the mob or anything. We're friendly with the mob and everything in Amazon, and we love everybody. But what we do is we're looking at all of these buyers accounts, and we're able to tie those into like a RICO case. So I'll give you an example. So you could have, let's say you have 3 buyers accounts. And what happens is when people have these buyers accounts, if they're coming to attack you, they get lazy a lot of the times, because what they don't realize is that there's somebody like us that can recognize that there's something funny going on. So usually what happens is they were a little worried about things. And now what they're doing is they'll, give an Excel spreadsheet to a VA or something. They're going to say, hey, go to these 5 buyers accounts, go buy 5 of these products, go give them a 1-star review. And these are the comments you can leave. Well, what happens there is a lot of the times they're using the exact same comments. So what is the likelihood that if you have 3 buyers accounts and they all wrote, this is the absolute worst product in the world with 4 exclamation marks? 0. Like, that just doesn't happen. You don't have 3 buyers that write the exact, they wrote great product, maybe, right? But the more words you use, the higher likelihood that obviously there's something funny going on. So that's what we mean by a RICO case. When somebody comes to us and says, hey, Shane, I want you to remove all of our, as many critical reviews as you can. When we have access to that whole portfolio, we also have all the data. So now what we're doing is we're tying these buyers accounts in together, and we're going, hey, Amazon, there's something funny going on here, right? Like, hey, if I'm a seller and I get on average 1 1-star a day, let's say that's what it is. And then all of a sudden I got 10 1-stars in a day for 3 days in a row. And we go to Amazon and we say, hey, let's look at this. Let's look at these buyers accounts. And we have Bob the buyer, right? So Bob seems like a nice guy. He comes and buys our product, and Bob gives us a 1-star review, and we say, okay, what's the likelihood of that? Well, there's a 20% chance, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Let's say they're all even. Okay, awesome. Bob hated our product so much that he came back and bought another product, right? Because that's what we do. I'm like, God, that was a terrible product. Let me buy another one from him, right? Let me give him another chance. Maybe that happens once. Great. So we go Amazon. Bob the buyer bought another thing from us, gave us a 1-star review. And then Bob the buyer bought a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, an 8th, a 9th, a 10th. And Amazon, what's the probability of that? It's what's that number? It's a 0. Absolutely 0 probability that somebody's going to come and buy 10 products from you and give you a 1-star review. So that's what we do, is we lay that all out in a case or do an escalation case. So we're going to Amazon and saying, hey, here goes the information. Here goes everything. Here goes the buyer's accounts. They're using the same responses to things. They're saying, reviews. They're also using, we're looking at this and they're doing, they're also giving us all 1-stars, and they just happen to be giving this other company all 5 stars. We might know who the buyer account belongs to. So what happens in those situations, and this is where the magic happens, is when Amazon comes and takes down those buyers accounts, our clients lose their 1-star reviews. And guess what? The competitors lose their 5-star reviews. Yeah. So we're seeing our clients absolutely go crazy in the BSR, going up in the rankings, because they've lost their 1-stars, which are heavily weighted on Amazon. I've heard anything from a 1-star equaling anywhere from 5 stars all the way to 25 stars. People debate on what that is, but it is a weighted average. There's no way that a 5-star and a 1-star are even. When you remove a 1-star, which is historically never been done unless you're using black hat tactics, which you're putting your account at risk, everything we do, we're filing with Amazon. Amazon is the one removing them. We're just giving them all the information to make the right decision.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, right? As if you have like a listing suppression, or I've worked places before where like we just needed to change out a credit card and the entire account got taken down. And the only way to get it back up is to essentially file a glorified book report on what's necessary. So I can see how some of the stuff that you guys have put into place and the responses that you have to send to Amazon, why most sellers are unsuccessful with it is because they're just like, this is wrong, take it down. Be like, you need so much more information. And if they say no, it's just no forever. And then you can never get it taken down. So it's very interesting the way that you've taken this approach.
And you get it. You hit the nail on the head. It's one thing to say, hey, Amazon, look into this. It's another thing to say, hey, this is all of the information that you need to make the right decision. That's when Amazon is removing those reviews. So that's because they're looking at this and going, oh, this is awesome information. And clearly they've done their research. Clearly this all makes sense. And the probability, and it's data, right? So you can't really fight the data. It's like, hey, I didn't write this comment. The people wrote this comment. I'm just showing you what that is. And I'm giving you the probability that 3 buyers accounts would write 3 of the same comments. Mm-hmm. There's 0 probability. So the person on the other end on Amazon doesn't need to go talk to anybody. They're like, okay, that's very fishy, right? These are the kind of things that they look for. We're just giving them and saying, hey, you guys go ahead and make an educated decision on this. Once again, if they say no, we can go to other departments, right? Because Amazon's very siloed. So we can go to other departments and say, hey, and we file the case differently with them, right? Maybe there's a certain terminology that we use that's differently. What we're really trying to do is clean up the platform. Like Amazon really likes what we're doing, right? And also so do the sellers, right? We're really doing everybody a favor. We're saying, hey, Amazon, you don't have to put in tons of work. We're giving you all the information. And the seller's saying, hey, thank you so much for doing that. I've been trying to do that for years and I just haven't figured out how to do it. I know some sellers that have a little success with it here and there. Our success rate, just so you guys know, is anywhere from 5 to 15%. 15% being on supplements, highly aggressive industry, always being attacked, a lot of black hat stuff. 5%, we have a high-end brake company for bikes that are like $500. You're not going to buy 10 of those and give them a 1-star review and send it to Australia. Like it doesn't pencil out. Now supplements, on the other hand, it does. You know, you get a bottle of creatine that you pay $1.50 for, you sell it for $30, and these guys are making, you know, gobs of money. And what happens is if you start to lose your rankings and you're going to go do, well, you're not supposed to, but people are doing unethical things because they want to get that back to their number 1 spot or their number 10 spot or number 30 spot. So what happened was people, they start doing things that they normally wouldn't do because they're doing it to you, right? You're not going to go and fight your neighbor, but if you walk by your neighbor and they slap you, the next time you see your neighbor, you're probably going to slap your neighbor, which is not recommended. I don't condone violence. I don't think that's recommended. And make sure you feed your kids too. That's another thing that I would like to put out there in the podcast. But you get my point, right? Like we're looking at this going, hey, we you know, there was a problem here and we're just educating Amazon what's going on and giving them the data.
Yeah. So none of my listeners are stupid except that one, and he knows who he is.
Your uncle,
but but we all know that if you got great reviews, you're going to see nice results. You're going to get nice rankings. You'll see the profit come in. It'll justify itself, blah, blah. I get it. How do you tie any kind of ROI to the removal of reviews? Like, I know you mentioned in some cases, which sounds like great cases, which is you get the ones removed and your competitors also remove their 5 stars. So it's just a complete flip, which is great. But is there a way that you have been able to paint an assumption on, hey, this specific ASIN has this many negative reviews. We think we can get rid of this many, which should allow you to increase by X. Like, is there a way to paint that picture?
Yeah, you're asking for the magic, the crystal ball that's on back order with Amazon right now.
Yeah.
My answer to you is we've created calculators to try to figure out that assessment. The problem is Amazon's constantly changing the algorithm, right? And for us, it's not we're not trying to do anything weird to Amazon. We're just trying to figure out so it'll help our clients, right? Because that's the big question. You'll go, hey, I moved down to a 4.2. What do I need to do to get to a 4.3? We do have actually in the dashboard, which obviously we can't see this today on the podcast, but in our dashboard, we actually have all of the reviews. We have all the reviews in there, but we also have all the reviews that we've removed so they can see all of that. We also have a thing that will be, if you look at a particular ASIN, you can click on it and it'll show a graph. There's 2 different representations and it'll show, hey, you're at a 4.2 and now you're heading up to a 4.3, and we'll have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. And once you start to see, obviously if they're getting more 4 and 5 stars and we're taking care of their 1, 2s and 3s, you can start to see that graph heading in that right direction. The problem is I don't know if it's 10 reviews. I don't know if it's 15. Depends on the category, competition. I mean, there's so many variables that get played into that. If I did have that crystal ball, then my kids would definitely be eating, right? I mean, then they would definitely have food. I definitely keep all my employees in, but we're working on that. We're working on that. But yeah, the thing is this, we have seen some huge successes, where we're like, we're looking at this and going, hey, I think maybe it might be, 25 reviews. Maybe we'll say that internally. And then great, at 15 reviews, they jump up to the next level, right? So it is difficult to say. I don't ever try to quote anything to clients. I try to be very conservative about what the results are going to be. I mean, I think what I always tell clients is at the end of the day, I think we all know that we're heading in the right direction by removing the reviews, right?
Yeah.
And what is that ROI to it? What I tell clients is, let's think about this. If you're at a 4.3 now and you've ever been to a 4.2, I had a supplement client that was losing 30% of their revenue from that drop, like that big of a drop. And so what they have to figure out is like, so if I lost, I was doing 200 units a day and now I'm doing 30 units a day or whatever that is. And that's not 30%, but you get my point. So let's say we have that drop. Let's say it's $5,000 a day. Is it worth it for us to go after those reviews when nobody else can do this? Or are you just going to keep pushing with 4 and 5 star reviews that aren't going to have anything close, aren't even going to be as weighted as much as the 1, 2, and 3 stars? The answer is with 80% of the 90% of the people is yes, let's give this a try. We know there's nobody else that can do it. we know we're at least heading in the right direction. If we don't get to that 4.3, we know we're at least, heading in the right direction and good things are happening there. But knowing exactly what that number is, that's not something that we've got figured out. But I will tell you, when we talk about that 500, once again, 500 critical reviews over one ASIN or multiple ASINs, the goal of that is to see traction, right? Like if you only had 100 and we removed 10 reviews, you're probably not going to see much traction there. So, and I've even told clients, I'll we do a little consultation, and I've had people where I've told them, hey, I don't know if this is going to make sense for you, right? Like, let's say they have, 1,000 5 stars and they have 1,000 1 stars. And they're like, oh, and they're at a 4.0 and they want to get it to 4.3. They're like, what do you think it's going to take to get a 4.3? And I'm like, probably a lot, right? Like, because the problem is that the distribution there is like, 1,000 and 1,000. Maybe it could be hundreds that you need to remove. I don't know. Maybe it's only 50. I don't know. But the problem is I look at those situations and I tell the client, if you're looking to get to the 4.3, there's no way I can guarantee that, because there's a lot of 1 stars. Now, do I think you should probably start cleaning some of that up? I do, right? But if you're looking for this crazy traction, my thing is managing expectations. If you're looking for a miracle, I would love to give you a miracle, and I'm praying that I give you a miracle, but I can't promise you a miracle. So, we look at those types of things. I've had clients where I've gone to and said, hey, I don't think it makes sense. And a high percentage of them still move forward with us, which is awesome. But I like to, for me, it's it's not just about making money. It's about, because I know how we felt when we were getting attacked. It sucks, man. You're helpless. Like I had a seller that told me one time, he goes, it's like, this is what he says. It's like having a rock in your sandal that you can't get out. Like you can still walk and you just kind of learn to deal with it. And I was like, that's a pretty good analogy. Sometimes it probably feels like a switchblade, but that's okay. We'll start with the rock. I think that's what it feels like. And so for me, I want to make sure that people are like getting traction. I want people to go, hey, you know what? Shane crushed it. We were at 4.2 into a 4.3. If I don't think that's going to happen, then we go to the second level of, hey, well, it is better to clean up the account. If you have very thin margins, we don't make sense. Like don't go with us, right? Like, because it's performance driven. But if you're saying, hey, this is my last $2,000 and I'm going to spend it with you, and this is a Hail Mary, hold on to the $2,000. Like, I'll figure out something. The kids will eat some other way. Mom will do something. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. The kids will be fine on our side. You guys keep your money. But once again, expectation is really important, and understanding what we think those results can be. But once again, making sure the expectation is we're all on the same page.
Love it. Shane, thank you so much. Obviously, really appreciate you being on the show. I would love to give you the opportunity here to obviously let everyone know where they can find out more about you, more about TraceFuse, and obviously I know you had some fun stuff for everybody here too.
I do. So once again, Andrew, hey, thanks for having me, man. I really, really appreciate it. It's been awesome being on the podcast. I'm a big fan. So we got a number of things. So if anybody wants to come and find me, the website is just tracefuse.ai. That's TRACEFUSE.ai. Great. My direct email is shane@tracefuse.ai. I know that's a shocker that I put my name in front of that. I know that's pretty creative, and you guys are all welcome to email me at any point, any questions, anything like that. Our demos are free. Nothing costs anything. Once again, it's all performance driven. There's no risk at all. You can take a look at the website. Once again, we can show you the dashboard. We do a great little demo. My team's not heavy salespeople. We're the only ones that can do this. So it makes sense from an RI perspective. Hey, move forward. And for your audience, Andrew, we have a special that we're doing. And I think you guys are going to have a link that they can click on and go over, where we're actually going to offer the audience $500 off their first invoice. So you already got minus $500 in your account or plus $500 in your account. So what would happen is, once again, we would go file cases, and if we remove 10 reviews, great. You only have to pay for 8 of them. So that's the thing that you'll do. You guys can click on the link, go and sign up. We'll do a demo. It'll either be myself or some of they're sales guys, but they're not really sales guys. It's really they're more informational people, because, once again, it's just educating the clients on what they've got. So once again, you guys please sign up for that. Once again, no risk at all. Just come in, sign up, and it makes sense, and you like us, and you want to move forward, we move forward. If not, then not a problem at all. We wish you nothing but success on the Amazon platform.
Beautiful. Shane, thank you so much. Obviously, everyone who tuned in, thank you as well. Please make sure you do the usual: rate, review, subscribe. And if you give me a negative review, I'm going to have Shane remove it. So, as usual, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you all next time. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in to the E-Comm Show. Head over to ecommshow.com to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on the BlueTuskr YouTube channel. The E-Comm Show is brought to you by BlueTuskr, a full-service digital marketing company specifically for e-commerce sellers looking to accelerate their growth. Go to BlueTuskr.com now for more information. Make sure to tune in next week for another amazing episode of The E-Comm Show.